18th Passion for Speed Festival is proudly brought to you by SKF, Castrol, NX Legends Racing South Africa, Charlie's Super Spa, and Swartkops Raceway. Welcome to the 18th running of the Passion for Speed Festival, and the crowds have come out very early to get in all the action because there is so much action here this weekend. Volvo and Volkswagen with some activations off the circuit, but there's plenty of action on it. And we start with the historic single-seaters. International field coming out here as always at the Passion for Speed Festival, and a great contingent, particularly from the UK in the single-seaters. Matt Nash, though, has set the pace. He's going to be a difficult man to beat because he knows the circuit really well, as does Chris Clark. He'll be pushing hard at the front end, but Richard Wilson and Paul Richardson, along with Richard Smeaton, will be pushing hard and trying to get through there. As the lights go out, they head down towards Compendium Insurance Corner, and it looks like it's Chris Clark around the outside of Matt Nash. Matt Nash just hanging on for dear life on the inside, though. Nash losing out to the man who was on pole position. Chris Clark now pushing hard down into turn 2. Rob Portman joins me in commentary as they go into turn 2 now. A big field of single-seaters here, ranging from about 1950 all the way up to the 1980s.
Yeah, way ahead of my time. But it's also great to see the crowds that are coming, and the guys and girls looking at these cars are about my age. So it just shows you the interest in these historic cars as they come through there now. Matt Nash starting to pull a little bit of a lead there, but Clark, Wilson, Richardson, Smeaton, Des Hillary right up in the mix there as well. Alan Koenig not too far behind in that dice for the top 7.
Yeah, Formula Ford's basically running the roost at the front end, with one of the Formula Juniors getting involved there with Richard Wilson. Richard Wilson in the 27 car, good number by the way. 55 up there, Des Hillary, as you said, putting pressure on right from the word go. So it looks like it's going to be a bit of a Formula Ford battle at the front.
Yeah, and there's a massive battle for that top 10. Shannon Winterstein, George Cooper, Alan Grant, and Clive Winterstein, they're all in the mix there. So that top 10 is going to be very, very vital going into final stages later on in this race. But it's all about those formulas at the front end of the field. Matt Nash, Chris Clark, you can see the track conditions not 100% ideal, but it's going to clear up as the day goes on.
Yeah, a big blowout by one of the big V8s earlier on. You can see all the cement dust down the sideline. It's going to make it a little bit more difficult for these guys, particularly because they're on road tyres. So there's not a lot of traction available to these guys. Matt Nash trying to get as much traction as possible to get away there from Chris Clark. Further back in the field, the 71 car there. Winterstein under a bit of pressure. George Cooper, Alan Grant up there. He's in the Merlin Mark 20F. Absolutely amazing piece of machinery there coming out of the 1970s. But it's a 1981 Ford Van Diemen that leads things out at the moment.
Just having a look at the Formula V's a little bit further back, running the original 1300cc Beetle engine, suspension and everything in those cars. Great to see them. Running down in 19th at the moment is Blaine DeMille, and he's the first of those Formula V's. Tony Beecher just behind him. There's a good little battle going on between them. Out front, Matt Nash still comfortably ahead of Chris Clark there, coming in between some of the traffic. That hasn't seemed to hamper him too much, but does look like Clark is closing that gap.
Yeah, they just went past Roger Lewis there in the MG Special, nicknamed Hedgehog. It's one of the slowest cars out there, but certainly able to run with its compatriots in its day. Here we go, down back into turn 1, and Matt Nash hanging on. Nash wants this victory, but Clark is not going to make it easy for him. You can see just how tight it is. Des Hillary now under attack from the 25 car, and Pat Dunseith has now moved up into that top 8 battle. So all of a sudden, we've got another car involved. That yellow machine of Dunseith is in the house.
Yeah, that top 10 really has closed up. I said everyone's going to be vying for that vital top 10 spot, and just outside of it there, car 61, that's Alan Grant. He's in a good dice with car 70. Ron Lydia just a little bit back. Got very, very close between those two going through turn 2.
Yeah, nice to see the V starting to get in the mix there as well. A little bit further back as well. Pick up on the Porsche of Clive Winterstein as the lead pack start to come in amongst them. And in fact, there's a change-up. Clark has got ahead of Matt Nash. Matt Nash has lost out ever so slightly. It must have been because of the traffic. He's now trying to come back as they head up to the top of the hill towards Mercedes-Benz and to Sassel Corner. And under braking, Nash is on the outside, Chris on the inside. Clark going to hang on. Great drive. Oh, no, he's not. Look at Matt Nash trying to drive around the outside. This is good stuff. This is kind of what we see every single weekend. Our current Formula 1600s and, of course, Formula Ford Kent guys go at it in the historic tour. But here at Passion for Speed, they're putting on a show. And what a show it is. Matt Nash goes defensive on Clark. Coming to the checkered flag. He's not going to give it up.
Brilliant stuff there. Chris Clark just maybe a little bit too much respect shown there to Matt Nash. Gave him the line, and that's allowed Matt Nash to cross the line and take the checkered flag there. So Chris Clark maybe just change it up. Needs to get a little bit more aggressive to hold on to that lead. Just behind them, Richard Wilson, Paul Richardson. They come across the line. Good drives there from him. And Richard Smeaton there in 5th place.
Des Hillary would eventually finish up in 6th place. A super run from him, fighting with Alan Koenig and Pat Dunseith. But now, in between the heats, just a little bit of time to sort cars out. Maybe just try something different. You can see them just adjusting bits and pieces there. That one doesn't really need to be adjusted too bad. That's the Hedgehog that we mentioned earlier on. And great to see that he's out there fighting hard and doing a super job. Roger Lewis out there in that MG Special. Heat 2 now, and as they're ready to go, watch out. Has anybody got what it takes to beat Matt Nash? As they come down to the starters line, this is the only standing start we've actually got on the day, which is quite an interesting little fact. Not any other classes going on a standing start. As the lights go out, we go racing, and Nash this time is on the hotline. So maybe he can outgun Chris Clark into turn 1. No, Clark is good off the line, and looks like Chris Clark might have taken the whole shot there. There's Hillary already in the pack and fighting for his life. John McKercher, and of course he's in the second of those Porsches as they come through there. A super run there from McKercher in the 718.
I think we're going to have some battles resuming after race number 1. The likes of Alan Grant, George Cooper and John McKercher all trying to get as high up in the field as they possibly can. But good start from all our drivers so far. They've made it through the tough little tricky section that is the opening lap here at Swartkops. They're coming out of turn 4 up the hill for the first time. That is where all the spectators are banked, and this is why the perfect overtaking spot as once again Matt Nash on the inside. Clark again just leaving that door wide open. He does need to start going a little bit more defensive, needs to learn from that mistake he made in race 1.
Goes into Kenwood, and on the attack is the 27, the Lotus 27 of Paul Richardson. He's looking like he wants a way past and is putting massive amounts of pressure, a lot more than what was on Clark in the first one. You can see it's a lot tighter there between those first 4 cars, and Richard Smeaton not too far off the back end either. He already goes on the attack and looks on the inside, trying to get through turn 1, just not close enough.
Yeah, you can see Matt Nash using all his experience there. He's closing every single line that he can, not to allow Clark and the rest of the field through. He can now see in his mirrors that this is a much bigger battle. As I say that, he leaves the door wide open there, but this is a much bigger battle than he had in race number 1, so he's trying to check out. He does not want that chasing pack to get involved with him and Clark out front.
Paul Richardson also in that attack. Here we go back through the field. Shannon and Clive Winterstein putting some pressure onto this mid-pack. Yubi van Moltke in there as well. He'll be involved a little bit later on in a Mercedes-Benz, so watch out for him. Then the 19 car there, Blaine de Malon, leading the Formula V's at this stage. No, in fact, second place in the Formula V's. Yubi van Moltke just up the road from him, so the battle continues for Formula V honours here in these historic single-seaters.
Starting to get a little bit fresh and tasty out front. Now you can see Clark having to defend that position now from Richard Wilson. So Wilson's starting to come through. That's allowing Matt Nash a little bit of air, but look at that, just one mistake at the top of the hill and they've all bunched up once again. It's a 3-way battle now for that lead.
Lotus 27 fighting hard there with an incredible drive coming out of Chris Clark. Can he keep it all together now? There's the MG just telling the guys which way to go. Yes, indeed, the special, the MG special, that's Hedgehog getting in the way ever so slightly, but you can see he told the guys where he wants them to overtake. He'll hold that inside line and then he'll just force his way around to the outside, and everybody just going left, right and trying to find a way past Roger Lewis as they head towards turn 1.
Clark now has got ahead of Richardson coming through the back markers there, and you can see that Matt Nash is trying to just extend that lead of his, so he's trying to chase him down. Look at the chasing pack coming through. It's getting very tasty there between the likes of Richardson and Smeaton. Des Hillary not too far behind. Koenig as well right up in the mix for that top 6.
Further back, Alan Grant doing a super job as he hangs on. He comes through just inside the top 9, and he of course in that Ford Lotus 61. Oh, there you go! So close between those two, and nothing that Chris Clark could do. He was trying to go on the inside. Matt Nash shut the door. He had to get away, get out of it, and he ends up banging into the inside wall. And Matt Nash has been gifted the victory with that. He's got 3 corners to go, and it's all done and dusted there for the Van Diemen. And looks like he's going to be a happy man with a double victory here at the International Historic Single-Seaters at the Passion for Speed Festival.
Well, I did say Clark needs to be a little bit more aggressive on that final lap. He was maybe a little bit too aggressive. Like I said, just planting himself in the inside wall. Coming there past the Hedgehog once again on the inside there. Matt Nash, what a day in the saddle it's been for him. It's going to be 2 wins on the day. Oh, we have a car stricken coming on the line, and Hedgehog goes right where he belongs on the dirt.
Yeah, Alan Grant spinning out on the last lap, unfortunately, right in the way of all the cars coming through to complete the race. He gets going again, but a little bit of an issue there with that car as he comes through to finish up. But it is Matt Nash with a double victory, beating out Richard Wilson in the Lotus 27, Paul Richardson and Richard Smeaton, and then Des Hillary beating out Alan Koenig. Let's catch up with Nash and see how the day went in his Van Diemen.
I think we were a bit luckier in the second one. Chris had a bit of an incident on the last lap, which is a bit unfortunate because the car's a bit damaged, but we'll see if we can fix it for Cape Town. Good overall day. I think we had the speed to win both, so yeah, I'm very happy.
Join us after the break for some more action from the Passion for Speed Festival.